What's happening, film dorks? Jake S. Weisman here, broadcasting from the epicenter of independent cinema. We're really lucky. Friend of the show, co-host of Bad Movie Brunch, and filmmaker, writer, producer Lucas Guy Taylor went to the movie theater again for the first time since before the pandemic, and he was kind enough to give us an interview. He told us all about the experience, he kind of spied for us, and also he told us about Marvel's Black Widow, which it's been a while since we've had a Marvel movie in the theaters. Things are getting back to normal, and we're really lucky to have talked to Lucas Guy Taylor. Roll film. My microphone was turned off for our interview, so I sound like dog poop. I'm terribly embarrassed, and I wish I was dead.
Thousand pardons, please.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Lucas Guy Taylor, thank you for joining us on Filmstuffs LITE, man. How you doing?
Hello. Yes, I'm so good. Just wearing my gauntlet.
I'm really excited to talk to you. You are my closest friend who's gone back to the movie theaters, and I haven't talked to you at all about it, and I'm not ready to go back. Of course, Black Widow came out, and we knew that was going to bring out a bunch of people. You went to the Thursday night show at the Man's Chinese in Los Angeles, right, Mr. Hollywood?
Yeah, TCL Chinese Theater.
Wow, with the footprints and the people dressed up on Hollywood Boulevard and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
I used to love it over there. Watching this movie, it's a whole extra layer because you have this kind of glitz and glam, almost dreamlike kind of a thing going on. So
totally, dude. It was like all lit up and beautiful, like down there last night. El Capitan, I wanted to do that. They had like a fan event for all the Disney stands. They had this amazing line, and they had this amazing, beautiful, lit up marquee that's doing this like fucking like Black Widow trailer, like on the front. I mean, dude, it's dazzling, and they have like their own Disney store and like soda fountain, like Ghirardelli store next door. All this exclusive shit. I couldn't justify it because it was like $40 tickets, and if I was going by myself, actually that's fine to me because I would get the souvenir shit they gave you, and they probably give you a soda. That's all, like, and I would really have rocked it. But I mean, if me and my wife go, that's $80, and she ended up really digging the movie, and we'll get to that. But I don't think like we don't need two of everything. She doesn't care enough.
Take us through going to the movies, man. What's it like going back to the movies?
Well, I'll tell you the first thing that's so different is we're used to, like, back when the world was normal and we were young, working at our theater, if it was Thursday night for a Marvel movie, you know, hell was going to break loose, and every seat in all four of our theaters is full, and we got people lined up to go to the second showing and everything else. The Chinese has 6 screens. They were playing some 3D shows on Thursday. They were playing IMAX. I went to a regular one just because it was a 7 o'clock, and that's the one I wanted to go to. Otherwise, I would have done one of those. But to go to a 7 o'clock Thursday Marvel movie, regardless of who it is, but like, we go into that flick, and it was like half full, and it wasn't their biggest screen or anything. It's not like I wasn't in like their massive fucking like stadium. It was a big theater for sure, to be sure, but it was like half full, and I thought that was weird. But I saw numbers saying that it was a great opening, like preview night for it, like even compared to numbers on flicks that made a lot of money, like even compared to like your Wonder Womans and stuff like that. So that if anybody's gonna bring it back, it's Disney, and that's the reason that they put my butt in the seat. I'm vaccinated, and the mask mandate's gone out here, so I'm feeling okay. You know, it's been a slow burn, but I was feeling okay enough. There's like movies that like piqued my interest, but there wasn't enough like hot stuff, especially with HBO Max and Disney giving us the flicks for pay, or even if you just have the app on HBO Max. Like, I bought Raya and the Last Dragon. I bought Cruella. I bought pretty much everything they threw at me, and I watched a lot of flicks I wouldn't even have gone to the theater to see from HBO Max. Like, I watched Mortal Kombat and a whole Yes, I watched that, which I probably wouldn't have gone to see, but I was like, "Ooh, what a nice new movie to get on my TV for free." So I thought that was good enough. This one was finally the one where I'm like, I could, and maybe I still will, like, buy this on Disney Premier Access. $30 is actually, in my opinion, a great deal. I'm willing to fight for that.
I 100% agree.
You get rewatchability too. Like we have a family Disney account, and they're like, they want you to do that.
Oh, I never even really thought about it. It's not.
Well, but think about it.
So like, you're buying it for $30.
$30. I bought. Well, and then you lose it again, and then you'd have to buy it again, or you get it to stream it for free or whatever. But when I paid for Raya and the Last Dragon, or I paid for Cruella, my mom can watch that with my nieces at home, and you can watch it as much as you want. There's like a span of time. It's not like a one shot, one kill thing there. Sure. So it's pretty gnarly deal. But this one drew me out because I obviously stand Marvel. You saw me wearing my Infinity Gauntlet, and it was a perfect storm of it just being the right time to get back to the theater, and I wasn't rushing it. There's a lot of places that theaters were open. Some theaters didn't close for very long at all. Truly, and like back in my hometown, yeah, they were screwed on the fact that they had to play old movies. There was no content, but my hometown, and I think rural towns in Illinois, they didn't have high numbers. Like people didn't get it, like really didn't get it. Their numbers were like in the single digits for a long time and shit like that. So it wasn't a big deal for them to mask up and go into a theater. Whether you think that's ill-advised or not, people were doing it and completely fine in towns like that. But I couldn't bring myself in a city to do it until I was feeling nice and confident. I got my shots 3 months ago or whatever the fuck. So I'm only just now getting out there, and I'm going to start going a lot. Yeah. Like I'm going to go see Jungle Cruise coming up. May go see Space Jam, may watch it for free on HBO Max. I don't know, but definitely going to go see Suicide Squad on August 2nd. So it's like or August 5th or whatever day it is. They're like starting to finally throw the movies back at us that it's going to be, it's just going to be like a fucking atomic bomb of flicks that have been like losing money for these studios just waiting to be released. And F9 did it before me. Like I think F9 did pretty well.
How did the staff look?
They were working hard. They were figuring it out. I have nothing but respect for those people. I was so excited. I wanted to be like, right. You know what I mean? Like, I feel you. Cause it was nostalgic even to see them doing it, but they were working hard, and it seemed like they were teaching people on the fly. And the concessions, I don't know if it's a COVID thing or what, but the lines weren't long at all. Like, I don't know if people were not ready to get shit. I got a soda and Raisinets. I'm like, whatever. Cool. And a lot of people still wore masks, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I didn't just because
you felt comfortable at the show.
I felt okay. And I sat, you picked your seats. I sat all the way in the back row. Nobody sat within like 4 rows of me or whatever, or like 3, like, so, and there was like a little like divider or whatever the fuck, where we were. So I was able to go in knowing that I'd have a safe aura. I will say it didn't feel very clean. Like,
oh really?
Yeah. It's like, wow, this theater's been I hope I don't catch shit, but this theater's been closed for this whole time or whatever. I'm all the way in the top row, and I'm like, this shit looks dusty. I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm like, but it's just when you think of theaters with big name sponsors and stuff, you don't expect that. But I've been to a lot of shitty looking AMCs too, and still had a great time. So I don't know if that's just the nature of the beast when it comes to a place like a movie theater. You're gonna have sticky floors and weird dusty cobweb corners because you have 100 feet tall ceilings and shit.
Right. Well, they don't want to pay anybody. Nobody wants to pay anybody, especially during the pandemic and everything like that.
It's a great point. So it's a great point.
They made their PPP loan. They're firing the janitorial staff. They're doing what they need to do. A lot of these theaters are doing what they need to do, and doing certain renovations now that they can afford it with their loans and stuff like that.
I'm happy to get back and support them for sure. But it sucks that I didn't think about the fact that it probably didn't get cleaned up because people weren't there.
I'm interested to see how it plays out, but it's nice to hear that you were comfortable and that you got stuff and to eat and drink and had a good time watching the movie. You weren't hyper conscious of like safety stuff, as in like people
I,
popping or anything like that?
I'm definitely always looking around, and if people would have been like, up on my shit and stuff in an enclosed space, I took a mask with me, like, and we both did just in case. I definitely want to be respectful. I wouldn't want people like they don't know if I'm vaccinated or not. I could be lying, so I wouldn't want to be breathing down somebody's neck. But nobody sat around us, so I felt all right. I will say also, like, you're back because some fuck dude was on his cell phone, and like you think you'd be nostalgic about all the little things about the movie theater experience, but I was so pissed at this guy because I'm all the way in the top. So I'm like, you're pulling it out of your pocket like this, and I normally am not like the pissiest guy in the world about this. I'm not a hardcore stickler. I walked theaters as a fucking employee, and like I didn't always tell people to put it away, man. Like, I'm like, I don't give a shit. Like, if you're not ruining my time, but this dude was ruining my time. Like, I was like, what the fuck? That part of the theater experience I wasn't used to. I was also, I won't lie to you, I sat there and thought about it. It was sort of anxiety inducing to be like, oh no, what if I don't have the attention span to go back and watch a movie this way? Like, I know that's a weird thought, but I was like, this is long. That's like gonna be a 2-hour movie. I don't know if I can sit and watch it and because we've been watching everything in our living rooms and on laptops, and you can do a million things at once. So I haven't really given any movies, for the most part, it's impossible to give attention to a flick the way you do at a movie theater. So it was, I didn't end up having an issue with it. I was fucking totally sucked in and enjoying my time, and so happy to be back and seeing everything on the silver screen. But there was a lot leading up to it. And now I'm going to go back to the new Bev in a couple weeks, like I already mentioned to you earlier. Excited to go back there. That place is a little different because that shit is tight. That's like 100-seat theater or some shit. And it's intimate and it's sold out. And it was really hard for them to handle selling out every single fucking show when they had to distance it. So I'm fine with the fact that they can sell all their seats again, and I'm cool with it. I'm pretty sure they can. I'm sure I'm gonna have a great time. Anything at the New Beverly is worth going. That place is a fucking testament to cinema, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, Quentin's buying another theater too. It seems like it's that's the theater experience that and on a bigger scale, like El Capitan, that's been going on for a very long time, where Disney's owned that theater as long as I've been visiting Los Angeles. But it is that thing that we keep talking about, which is what is going to survive and how is it going to survive? And, there's this, there's Mans, which, I mean, you're in a very specific spot where like there's all of this stuff to kind of draw you in.
I am in West Hollywood.
Well, you were down the street from Cinerama Dome, and they closed the shit out of that.
Yeah, well, that's interesting you say that. Like, back before the world closed down, I got here and I was seeing fucking everything everywhere.
That's
like
what
I was
saw.
like,
Watchmen, funny people. Yeah,
I did Birds of Prey there, and it was in the Dome, and it was incredible. I was like seeing Uncut Gems at the Bev. I saw Little Women at the Bev. I was seeing fucking. Calm down, you.
So you have the ArcLight, which is dumping theaters. You have El Capitan, which is kind of not a guidepost, but like a flare into the future of what this could be, of like a giant company owning a one-house movie palace. You got Mans, which has its own history. The fact that it's Mans, or it's not called Mans anymore, right?
TCL.
TCL. The fact that it's the Chinese with the footprints, handprints right next to Hollywood Boulevard, that'll bring people no matter what. It will always bring people. And then
they have fucking tours, dude. Like, you can sell tickets to tours and movies. Like, you're in an all right spot, and everybody's gonna go because it is Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't like throwing the word
Chinese
around. But
no, that is. I mean, El Cap is too. The El Cap is like part of the fucking. You want the old Hollywood skyline, and the El Cap's there. Like, so it's for sure is. And obviously, it wasn't always Disney owned. That's a pretty, in the grand scheme of things, recent development. But no, those are both iconic, and the Egyptian's cool too. But they don't really. I don't know if the Egyptian is. I don't know what they do. When I was here in like 16 or 17. they were doing like more specialty screenings. Like it wasn't new flicks really. Like they're like Sam Raimi, Spider-Man 1 and 2 double feature, and I was like, I'm there. Like, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. And it was amazing. But it was always like special stuff like that. That's a gorgeous theater too. But
so, and then on a smaller scale, we have Tarantino and his like buying these one house, smaller houses that are exclusive. I want to see how many seats are in the new Bev. Because I know it's more than 100, but it's like 200, you know?
If it's 200, that surprises the shit out of me.
I mean, they do so well.
Man. I've been there a lot of times. It's small. I love it to death. And the screen is small.
228.
Wow. It doesn't feel like it. It feels...
Well, I mean, think about it. Theater 1 was 115 seats.
It's a good point. Like, that feels tiny. That feels tiny. That's a great point.
On its side,
great point.
New Bev is kind of long.
It is. That's a great call. It just it feels intimate. And I don't know how big the new one, or not the new one, but the one he's purchasing now.
And then how was Black Widow?
Good, dude. It was like honestly, I avoided trailers for the most part, just because this movie kept getting like shoved around during the pandemic. I wasn't even willing to like latch on to the idea I might be able to go see it anytime soon when it was supposed to come out those first few times. The only like, I mean, oh my God, I loved it. Like, to be honest with you. But the only thing I kept thinking was like, man, this is weird to have this so late. This is righting one of the greatest wrongs in the MCU. Where you have a core Avenger, a bona fide movie star, and they're from literally the third flick on, for the most part, like appearing in all these other flicks and the Avengers movies, and only getting her standalone after her character is dead in canonically in Endgame. So that's the only thing that I think bummed me out about the whole thing, was just that, you know, if now I have to watch this before I watch Infinity War, if I'm going to go in order, because that's the way it plays. Like, it plays into, it literally plays. This takes place between Civil War and Infinity War.
Oh, okay. I thought it was
which is like,
that's great.
I think that's how it seemed. I had no idea. It's all very biblical now, though. It's like you have to know which book goes where. It was a little easier when you knew you could just watch it in order. You know what I'm saying? But now it's like, no. You want to know what's going on between Civil War? We didn't know before. It's like, what was Loki talking about in Avengers when he was talking about that her ledger was red and stuff like that? And you find out all these things that you wanted to know. It's just like, I just sit and wonder. I'm like, why? I want to be told why we couldn't do this sooner. Just that's how much I enjoyed it, and that's how much I think that Scarlett Johansson deserves it, and I think fans like my wife deserve it. Where, you know, I drag her to like 3 Spider-Man. We got a million Spider-Man movies. Cap got a trilogy, a core Avenger. Thor got a trilogy and is getting a 4th. Hulk, they couldn't figure out. I'll give him that. He played a similar role as Black Widow, like in showing up and stuff. But all your Chris's, you know, Hawkeye's getting a series. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, Hawkeye's getting his series, and they did a cool lead into that. So I'm trying not to be spoilery since the movie just came out. It's Friday right now. So, but I want to know if it's like, if it was her call being like, no, I want to be in Her, and I want to be in Marriage Story, and I want to be in Jojo Rabbit. So I don't have time to do this or whatever. And you'll pay me for this, and I like doing it, but I also want to do these movies. Then that's cool. And thank goodness they did it. Still, even though her character was dead, thank goodness. But I think like it's weird that we couldn't have got this. Maybe not in phase 1. Like, I'll give you phase 1. They were testing things out.
She was in phase 1.
Right. Exactly. And I'll give you, but like post the first Avengers, we know and love her enough that people were coming out for that. Like, right. People were coming out for that. If you stick that in the same slot, you stick a Thor: The Dark World. You know what I'm saying? Like, in a November.
Oh, totally. I was surprised that she was Iron Man 2. When I rewatched Iron Man 2, and that's the third one, like you said. So it's like,
third movie.
She's been there the entire time. And I don't think people still don't give it that kind of credit. Maybe
It's
that's
just
my
strange.
viewpoint of it, but I don't
It's
know.
strange that like Marvel, like they proved like the MCU, and this is not a knock, it's just a commentary. And I know the world's changing, so things weren't always the same way. Like it's not pre Wonder Woman, you could make the argument maybe that this wasn't so hard, but I think they could have done this before Wonder Woman. Like we already bought this character and loved her. And they said what I'm getting. Well, that's what I'm getting at. It's like that's what I'm getting to is they proved with the inception of Marvel Studios that they can take B and C list Avengers. Do not kid yourself. Pre Downey Jr. Iron Man is not an A-list Avenger. That's why Spider-Man and X-Men don't or didn't until very recently belong, because they were bought up by studios and they were like, oh, these are the important ones. Like, you know what I'm saying? They made Iron Man what it is. How the fuck do you make Captain America this popular? Like, I'm honestly asking, because I would die for Chris Evans now. But as a kid, I didn't care about Captain America, and I didn't care about Iron Man, Thor. Like, I mean, it's like Thor they could all be so lame, and they figured it out. But I'm saying if you can do that for them, you could do the same with Black Widow. And I think we would have watched a Black Widow and a Hawkeye movie, like you're saying. I know it's a hard thing, and it's easy to play. It's easy to play backseat driver years later.
No.
But how is it? And I love Brie Larson. I stan Brie Larson, and I like Captain Marvel. I like so much about it. I think that's a wonderful fucking movie. But how is that even before Black Widow? Like DC beats him to the punch with Wonder Woman, and then they're like, well, we're making Captain Marvel. And it's like, I love Captain Marvel. That's awesome. And I'm excited for the sequel. But you already have one that we really want to see. And it took forever to even we used Wanda over and over again before we finally fleshed her out and redid her origin properly with WandaVision. Like it just took a while. And again, this sounds like I'm complaining, and I'm super not at all. I'm so fucking pleased by this movie. And Kevin Feige, you've done nothing wrong. You're an angel. Like everything that's happening over there is angelic. Oh my God, Loki's so good. I'm just saying it would have been cool, I think, to do this flick 10 years sooner. Like Taylor is being like, has a movie where she's like, I relate to this. This is like the Me Too movie. And she's like, and people are saying that online. Like these are like women controlled by men to do their bidding. And there's, it's an empowering flick. And she walked out of that movie feeling really jazzed. I think that would have been a nice thing to have for people before.
It just seems like people were very clearly wanted that for a very long time. And we're talking about Avengers, but I worked Winter Soldier, and she's instrumental in Winter Soldier.
She's a star in Winter Soldier. She's an absolute star. Like she plays pivotal roles in Winter Soldier and Civil War. And then of course all the Avengers flicks. So thank goodness she gets one. Like it would have been it's better to do it now than not at all.
Yeah.
Thank goodness she gets one. I really dug it, man. I'm really trying not to be spoilery. I wish I could dive deep in it.
It's cool. This is a good little taste.
It's partly like I'm always gonna positively associate this flick with my return to going to movie theaters. Movie theaters were a haven for me, and I did not rush it or force the issue. I didn't need to be in a fucking movie theater to risk the health of like myself and others. But now that it's time and we can kind of feel a semblance of normalcy, like I'm always gonna be like, oh, I saw Black Widow right when I was able to go back, and I went and saw it at the Chinese, and that's great. But that aside, this is just a good movie. I woke up this morning like being like, God, I really enjoyed that. And then like I see on my Facebook like some white dude who's like, the movie wasn't very good. And I'm like, why does it always have to be like, why does like there's no indifference? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like a movie is like either like the best thing people have ever seen or a chronic waste of their time. And I'll never understand that mindset. We talked about it when we had Bad Movie Brunch on. It's like I clicked play and I didn't expect like at worst I was like, okay, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not ready to go fucking like make a Facebook status to bash it. It's so weird. And then if you're a fan of it, it's even weirder. You know what I'm saying? Like it's even weirder to be like a Marvel fan and then be like, there's a good Black Widow movie, but this isn't it. And then I'm like, my man, like, so
you're selling it more than I really wanted to see it.
You're a Midsummer cat, and Florence Pugh is set up to be the new Black Widow, and she's fantastic in this. Absolutely fantastic. David Harbour is fucking up here. He's up here, dude. We're down here. He's up here, dude. Like he's on one in this movie, like absolutely on one. And they use him like sparingly. It's still like it's the fucking Widow's show, man. Like Scarlett, Florence, Rachel Weisz, A-listers, man, all A-listers, and they're doing something in the post credit that's leading. We're gonna spend some time with Florence Pugh, and we're gonna spend some time with other Avengers that we've talked about. I don't want to give anything away.
We'll have you back on a little bit when we see how things kind of play out. We were texting about this a little bit before, and we'll wrap this up here. But you know, when Cruella first came out, I was reading articles and headlines saying, oh man, they really screwed the pooch on this one. They really bombed. And now there's literally headlines saying it overperformed. And so maybe we are seeing what this hybrid release actually does. Whether it overperforms in the theater, but then everyone's buying this stuff for $30. We were speculating that they would charge $45, $50 for Black Widow.
Yeah,
because they could.
Sure could
talk
have.
about how magnanimous Disney is, and we're not being facetious about it.
No, I love Disney.
They could ring people for it if they really wanted to, and it's actually quite. I know how I sound, but it's actually quite kind of them to be offering $30 as a price point for Black Widow.
Yeah, they know what's up
right now. So I understand why certain theaters are a little upset, but I am very curious to see how it plays out for Disney. Especially when it's like they're just they own this theater, they own the streaming service. They get fucking 75% of the box office.
Well, and it's a walking commercial now because anytime anything happens on Loki, like, or Black Widow or any of these things, like they do it at the Avengers campus at California Adventure. So like now they've got their Black Widow walking around in the white suit from the movie. Cool. They had Loki like in his costume from fucking the TV show, like walking, you know what I mean? Like they can, it's just everything. They're really good at what they do. And that's a stupid thing to say because we all know it.
No,
but let me tell you, man, when you were doing film stuffs initially, I literally was like, I don't know if we'll ever like movie theaters will ever go back, but I think that's actually, I think we're going to be surprised that I think like in the next year, we're going to be back like it was never lost. Like I really do. I think we're going to fill them back up.
That's a good prediction to land on. I've been saying Batman this whole time. Maybe Spider-Man, but I know that
Spider-Man at Christmas, dude. Spider-Man at Christmas is packing fucking theaters.
Yeah, but I definitely my bet for like next Black Panther style tsunami of people needing to see one of these movies for me is probably Pattinson's The Batman, but I don't know if
it was already hyped. No, I think you're onto something. I mean, like that's gonna be. It has the potential to be like as culturally impactful as Dark Knight because of what you're saying. Like that could be the first official movie summer because this isn't. This is like we're dipping our toes back. This is 2 years away from. We're 2 years ahead of like the last movie summer now because we lost one. And now this one is like we're working our way back. But by next summer, when we've already been like sucking the dick of that fucking Batman trailer, like you know what I mean? And like I think it's gonna do numbers. I also think that some niche movies might surprise you. Not niche, but not Batman. October Halloween Kills could do pretty freaking well, man. Like
it could, but it could also go the other way.
Why is that that's a Universal or who is that?
No, listen, it's Blumhouse. It's the same director. There's no reason why it shouldn't be a big deal.
Is it David Gordon Green or whatever?
Yeah, David Gordon Green, who actually, if you watch his early stuff, is the indiest of the indie.
Well, dude, I loved his Halloween flick. I loved it.
It's a really good movie. His early stuff, George Washington and All the Real Girls, are like sobbers, like really beautiful films. He knows what he's doing, and it was really cool to when he started doing Pineapple Express and kind of crossing over and doing all that stuff. That being said, I suspect it'll be a good movie, but these sequels go either way. And so there was Guardians, right? And that surprisingly kind of did. Oh, everyone really loved it. It wasn't that big of a surprise, but it did really well.
It was still a surprise at the time. It was an August slot, which they literally made August a movie month again. Like that was them.
They had already
and it was characters we did not know at all. Like no one knew.
So
Guardians get 2 movies before Black Widow.
I know, right? But Guardians 2 then comes out in May, 2 theaters, huge sellout. Cool. Kingsman, huge hit. Huge hit. Sequel bombed. No one came.
I don't think I understand. Kingsman 1 was a surprise hit.
Yeah.
I don't think Halloween is a surprise, and I don't think that Marvel in comparison is a surprise. I think I understood why people didn't pack us for the second Kingsman. It was like 3 years later and shit too, wasn't it? Wasn't it like a long gap and stuff?
I mean, I guess if Halloween Kills is very, very good, like it's very, very good ratings, I suspect it'll be like crazy. But
I'm not
don't underestimate the Last Jedi thing of it all. You know what I'm saying? Like,
what do some people not like this new Halloween?
No, it's just that we were all excited.
I'm not like a Halloween stan or anything. I like the original and I like this last one.
I'm sure people are excited, and I also think that horror movies are going to be, if any genre survives any of this, like it's horror.
Ironically, right? Slasher.
It is what it is. It's the genre that will
Halloween survives.
It's what kids want to go out and see. It's what people want to go out and see. Mm-hmm. And they're going to keep doing it. Halloween, maybe it's just because I was talking about Star Wars earlier today that I'm thinking about it like this, but it's like Star Wars Force Awakens, everyone is like, there's this buildup. It's this thing. It's, man, we're finally getting what it looks like. When we're getting a Star Wars movie, but it looks like this. And it doesn't matter what the story is, the shots and the effects look like this. And I think that was very much like Halloween, where it's like, finally, like someone's doing a Halloween movie really well. And that's exciting. Look, the fucking pumpkin, man. They did the pumpkin, man. And it's backwards. Oh, it's so amazing. And I agree. It's a really great movie. And now they're going to do a sequel to it. And so unless the movie is like a knockout horror film, which it very well could be. They
must really believe in it, because don't they already have like this and the other one in the can? Like these were supposed to come out consecutive years, remember? Like when this came out, the first one came out, and it did so well that they're like, we're doing like 2 or 3 more, and they're coming out consecutive Octobers. So this one has been sitting and waiting like on the shelf at Blumhouse for a hot minute.
Hopefully it's not wasted. Hopefully they didn't. Hopefully they can spark the fire again, and like, because that's what they do with horror, is pump this out one a year until it don't make no money no more. Like I can say that about as many franchises that fit on my hand, fingers.
Sure.
But I'm with you. I'm
not fighting for it. I just think that could surprise you. I'm not. Hey, I don't care. It's just not getting tattoos. Just isn't good behavior. Didn't your producers fucking tell you anything?
It's a cosmic gumbo.
Everybody should watch. I think you should leave season 2.
Cosmic gumbo.
It's a perfect mix of those exploitation films of the 70s. A little bit Tarantino. It's kind of a cosmic. We talk about it being a cosmic gumbo.
Luke, thank you so much for hopping on and sharing your experience coming to the theaters. I don't know the next time I'm going to go. I have to kill some time in Chicago at the end of the month. And so between my train ride and my plane ride.
Oh, dude, you're crazy. You got to go to River East, man.
Thank you so much for chatting with me. That was really
cool. Of course,
man. You. And we'll get you back on the show when you see something else.
Happy to be here, Jake.
Thanks, Guy.
So there you have it. Lucas Guy Taylor went back to the cinema to go see Marvel's Black Widow. Thank you so much, Luke, for sharing your thoughts with us, and we'll have you back on the show really shortly. And thank you for watching the show. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you liked what you saw, please like the video. If you want to see more of it, please subscribe and ring that bell. And if you have any thoughts on what we're talking about or questions or anything, please leave a comment. Follow me where all fine Jelly Roll Chicagos can be found. And don't forget to tune in Thursday nights, 9/8 Central, for Film Stuffs Live, our live video podcast where we interview independent filmmakers and people all over the world of film. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you
in the future.